Hello, and welcome to DK Summer 2025 School and Library event. I'm Sarah Hunter, Books for Youth and Graphic Novels Editor at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title lists were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable them on your screen, please look for and click the Show Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of them at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates the standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be removed. We have a wonderful event planned for today, and we'll learn more about some great DK titles later in the program. But first, we will begin our webinar with a few words from Kristen Pizzotti, Assistant Director of Education and Library Marketing at DK, who's going to introduce our special author guest and the Green Kingdom. Take it away, Kristen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for being here today. I'm Kristen, Assistant Director of Education and Library Marketing at DK. I am so excited for this first half of our Summer 2025 Preview Hour in particular, in which best-selling author Cornelia Funke will be in conversation with Booklist editor Sarah Hunter, whom you just heard from, in celebration of Cornelia's brand new middle grade novel, The Green Kingdom, out on April 1st. Before I welcome them both onto the virtual stage, I'll set the stage with a look at the Green Kingdom. In this enchanting adventure, 12-year-old Caspia is spending the summer in Brooklyn, and she isn't thrilled. She hates big cities, especially New York, but everything changes when Caspia discovers a bundle of letters hidden in an old chest of drawers. Each letter contains a riddle, with clues leading to different plants. Caspia sets out to solve the riddles, and when she does, she discovers, to her surprise, that sometimes you can put roots down where you least expect it. Written in tandem with Tammy Hartung, an herbalist and organic farmer, Funke's new book, The Green Kingdom, is a heartfelt tale of friendship, growth, and transformation. We hope you love it as much as we do. Now, let's get ready to welcome Cornelia onto the virtual stage. Author of the New York Times bestselling INKHEART series, Cornelia Funke has been published in 53 languages, and her books have sold well over 22 million copies worldwide. Her INKHEART trilogy has sold more than 6 million copies worldwide, with the first in the series adapted for a film in 2008, starring Brendan Fraser and Helen Mirren. The Green Kingdom was first published in German by Dressler in April 2023 and will be available in the US on April 1st. Cornelia lives with her 2 dogs in Tuscany, Italy, where she regularly hosts artists from around the world. Her old olive farm provides a great retreat for creatives to be inspired and to collaborate in ever-surprising and amazing ways. Cornelia and Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kristen, and welcome, Cornelia. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the book today.
Thank you very much.
So tell me a little bit about your inspiration for the book.
I think the inspiration was, first of all, that I always had a passion for the Green Kingdom. So I always had plants on my windowsill, plants everywhere, and never thought much about it until one day I thought I would like to instill that passion for plants in my readers. But how do that? I can do dragons. I can do ghosts, I can do adventure, but most readers think plants are very boring. So I read a book by an ethnobotanist called Tammy Hartung, who wrote in such entertaining ways about plants that I thought, why don't I make contact with her and use her knowledge, because I'm an amateur. And we tried to do this together. It took us quite a while to figure out how to do it. Tammy was very much on board immediately, but she was like, maybe we do nonfiction, until her husband, Chris, hooray, Chris, said, my God, come on, Cornelia is a storyteller. You have to do this as a story. So luckily, that worked really well. The story came to me very easily. I had all the knowledge from Tammy, which I think is very important when you do a book like this. So all the riddles, I was sure all my little details hidden in there are correct. Very important and fun. And the reaction to this book has been quite overwhelming, I have to say, because some publishers, not DK, the German publisher, was very reluctant and said, this is not your typical book. There are no dragons, there is no. And I said, well, but it's very close to my heart. Let's try. And it was in Germany on the best-selling lists. I hear from librarians who make plant boxes. And I hope I have instilled that passion in many areas.
Wonderful. So speaking of Tammy, who you worked with, was there anything about her research that changed the way you thought about Caspia's story as you were working with them?
Yes, that was an interesting part, because many people asked me, did you write it together? That's very difficult and actually not possible, because you need a voice of a story. So, but the wonderful thing is we had the letters and the riddles. So in a way, we had a separate voice in there. And I had somebody I could discuss this with, how is Rosalind? I actually always imagined Rosalind, who did write the letters, as the readers will find out, a little bit like Tammy, because Tammy has very long white hair. And I always imagined Rosalind a bit like her. And I always teased her saying, one day you will do a blog as Rosalind about plant riddles, because you know so much. It was endlessly inspiring, because she knows so much more than I do about plants, and had all these anecdotes I could use for storytelling. And I could bring my talent for storytelling. And then we had another collaborator who's not on the book, Caspia, who gave the name to my heroine, a girl in Brooklyn who, with her mother, Juliane, who's German and married to an American, were my spies. Because I was not in Brooklyn. How write about the Botanic Garden? How write about the shops? So Caspia and her mother would say, what do you need, Cornelia? We will send photos. We will go exploring. No, you cannot do a picnic in a botanical garden. You cannot use that in the story. And all these things were incredible. So I have to say my thanks to them as well.
Wonderful. What were some particularly fascinating plant facts that you learned in your research for the book?
What did I learn? The most fascinating thing I learned? Oh, I think that was actually something Tammy and I found together, the myth about the peppermint, the mint as an herb, that her name comes from a nymph whom a god fell in love with, and his wife noticed. Interestingly, those wives always take revenge on the women, never on the husband. So she took revenge on the poor mint, Menta, as she was called, and said, I will make sure that everybody will step on you. I'm going to make you into an herb that all their feet will trample on. So the helpless husband and God, who found out about this, thought, well, at least I can give her a very beautiful scent, so that when everybody steps on her, they will be enchanted by how good she smells. I'm not so sure that makes up for the revenge, but I thought it's such a fabulous story that by now I look at peppermint and other mint plants in a very different way.
Maybe she's getting her revenge by taking over everybody's garden who tries to plant mint in the ground.
That is very true. She's a powerful girl.
It's true.
Yes.
How did you decide which plants to include in the book?
it was a long discussion process. So Tammy and I filled notebooks and notebooks with plants, and we both had our favorites. But in the end, we thought we want to give a feeling for the incredibly wide range of what a plant is. A tree is a plant. A little herb is a plant. A flower, like the rose, is a plant. It's all the same kingdom. And for the first book, it may change as we are thinking about a sequel at the moment, that we may get more specialized. But for now, I thought for the first book, it's enchanting to hear about the whole kingdom.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about what initially drew you to Tammy's work in particular? What made her seem like such a good collaborator for you?
She has a book out. Oh my God, I wish I could now recall the title. It's something with milkweed. And it's about that. I found it so enticing that she has so much information on plants and how you can grow them and how you can heal with them, but also the myth and the storytelling about plants, which I like very much. All the stories human beings made up about those plants, all the names they gave them, because they knew so much about them. We often don't anymore. And I very much like to read her book, and I thought, oh, this is a voice I would love to work with. This is somebody. And then I heard about all the work she does on her farm. She does education and classes, and she works with children in schools. And she's a very renowned speaker on many conventions. She's very connected to the botanical gardens, for example, at the botanical garden in Denver. I think she worked there once, and her husband too. So I thought that is also so magical that she comes from that world. And when I described the botanical garden in Brooklyn, I thought, oh, they will love to have Tammy there and talk about plants. Like I will now do an event in about 2 weeks in Scotland in the botanical gardens of St. Andrews. So I will try to spread the passion in Europe. She will spread it in America.
So one thing that really struck me about the book is that Caspia is discovering this love for plants in a city, and she comes from a small town in like a more rural part of the country. And I was really interested in your choice to put her in a city to discover plants when cities are a place that not very many people associate with a lot of greenery.
You see, that's what stories always do to me. Sarah, I did not intend to do it that way. I absolutely thought I would set it in the country or something. And then suddenly I thought, oh, I think it's set in Brooklyn. I was like, what? But stories do that to me. I never claim that I make them up. No, I find them and they come to me and they're very powerful and very strong-minded. And in this case, I then thought, oh, it's actually better to do it this way because most children have more of a city reality nowadays. And I thought the rural kids will probably have a relationship to plants already, whereas many city kids will not. And I thought to then describe a dandelion who makes his way through the pavement, or to say, go to the botanical garden, what you will find there, became a very strong and beautiful component of the story. And also, I would say, all the human beings who are like, for me, beautiful plants she finds on the way, like Jamila in the flower shop, or Mrs. Wahid in the spice shop, and how many of us are very connected to plants without maybe even thinking about it. When we buy our spices or we buy our flowers, or we don't even really think about how defining plants are in our lives.
Yeah, and they're also very enduring. You can't really escape a plant, even if you are in the
city. Yes.
So you talked a little bit about trying to instill a passion for plants and greenery in children. Can you say a little bit more about what you hope readers will take away from your book?
I didn't hear the last one. My sound is bad.
Sure.
Repeat the question.
What do you hope readers will take away from the book?
Well, I heard it from many people also here, many of the young artists who visit me, as I am so much in the country, that plants, in my opinion, can make you very happy. They have, I think, We don't just imagine it. They're only just discovering what actually plants do, how they breathe, and how they, in a way, communicate with us without us noticing. There's a wonderful new book out by Zoe Schlanger, which is called The Light Eaters, which will change forever your view on plants and how actively they actually can manipulate you with the smells, with the aromas. And I learned, for example, here in Tuscany, you have the cypress, and everybody thinks, well, that's a typical plant of Tuscany. It comes originally from Africa. So many, many plants are also immigrants and travelers. And the cypress was a funeral and graveyard tree of the Romans because it exhales an oil that comforts humans. So they planted it around graves to give comfort to the grieving visitors of the graveyard. I thought that is so enticing. And I noticed when I go into my little greenhouse, how immediately you feel in a way different. I don't know how they do it. And every plant is a little different. But I think almost no other creature on this planet can teach us so much that we're completely dependent on nature. You know, the plants are the only ones who can eat sunlight. We are not able to do that. They turn sunlight into food. No animal is able to do that. So we utterly depend on plants. They're not just decoration, but in somehow we thought we made them into that. Let's put a few trees on the side of the road. Let's have a plant on our windowsill, that they are so much more powerful and that our life in a way depends on them, and that we all know how it feels to stand under an old tree. All this I want to bring back to the memory and also give children that magic, because it's such an easy to find magic.
That's true. That's true. That's one of the things that I liked about the fact that the book is set in a city, that you don't have to travel far to find the magic of plants. And I hope that it can encourage that just like quiet observation where you just look out your window and see what you can see. And that was one thing that I liked about what Caspia was doing in the book, that she just had to look a little bit harder to see.
I think we are losing that easily, right? Children are so used to by now be overwhelmed with school, with all the tasks they have, that they almost have no time to be curious about the world. For me, it was still very normal that school ended midday. In Germany at that time, it was like that. And that I was in the forest or in the garden with my friends. And I think we have to give part of that back to children, that feeling that they can touch and smell and be stung by a nettle, and do have those encounters with the natural world, because they will not protect the natural world if they don't love it, if they're afraid of it. Or I have some artists who arrive here, most of them come from cities. The first day, all the spiders and the lizards and everything that is here, sometimes the snakes in summer, overwhelms them. And I had the most magical thing with a young illustrator who does a book on moths with me at the moment, who said to me, Cornelia, I'm usually so afraid of spiders, but here everything is alive. And somehow it doesn't matter that it crawls and is so fast, because it gives you a different feeling. And I suddenly notice we have a task here for all the young artists. They have to draw one plant, one insect, and one bird. And I make lists of all the inhabitants, and they have to portrait one. And I love to see how they walk around and start noticing. And then they show me photos of the moth they found, or of the lizard, or of the fly. And I would love that to happen, that somebody, as you say, after that book, suddenly start spotting things and finding things and be reconnected to the real world.
Can you talk a little bit about how riddles in the book encourage, and maybe more generally encourage, that sort of active observation, because the riddles are so central to her path of discovery?
You know, I still remember the day I had that idea to put the riddles in, because first we had the letters and she was just writing about the plants. And I thought, that's not right. It feels like more like we want to feed the reader with information. And that's kind of sad in a story. You have to do it differently. And I thought, oh, if she writes to her sister, how fun would that be? And we didn't mention yet that Rosalind, actually, the girl who wrote these books, these letters many, many years ago, is a blind girl. So she feels and touches and understands plants in a very different way. And what I always loved about the story that came to me was that actually the blind girl is bolder than the seeing girl. So in a way, teaches Caspia to be more courageous and outgoing and to go out. And Rosalind wrote the letters in 1958 when she was traveling with her botanist father through the world. And because she missed her biggest sister so much, who lives in New York, she wrote those letters. And as we all know, sometimes you rent an Airbnb or something, and suddenly you find something very strange in a drawer, and that's those letters. And suddenly I thought, I still remember that it's always so magical when a story reveals a secret. Oh, no, she puts riddles in there. And then her sister has to solve the riddle. And then she has to embroider the plant and send her the embroidery, because that she can touch with her fingers and she can feel the plant. And then she will say, okay, you cracked the riddle, I will send you the next letter. And I love that deal between the sisters, and to imagine that. And I also secretly hope that some of the readers will start embroidery, because Tammy is a passionate embroiderer.
Ah,
So
another way she
the
makes
idea
money.
was inspired by that, you know. She was always, when she visited me, she was always stitching away. She called herself also a stitching herbalist. So, you know, it was like, came very naturally that there's also my admiration for the hands and the crafts and how happy it can make us to make things and to see things grow. And we have recipes in the German edition, actually, you know, that my son-in-law, who is from New York, did. So there are many, many ways to somehow interact. And I can post them on the website maybe, so that some can recook them. And, you know, there was a bit of a worry, oh my God, they cook with white herbs. Well, what will happen? Will somebody poison themselves? So it seems the Germans were a little bit reckless in that. So they didn't get But maybe one can find a way, because I think that's also beautiful to start eating wild things.
Yeah, another way that plants are inescapable in your life.
Right? Yes. Yes.
I realize this is a little bit like asking what your favorite book is, but what's your favorite plant?
Well, you know, yes, it's a very difficult one, because there are so many plants for different reasons that I love very much. Actually, the mint plant is one of them. But there's another plant called comfrey that is not yet in the book. That's a very powerful healing plant and so spectacularly beautiful. And it has these furry leaves that it always feels like a very living creature. So I would definitely say that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I have some of that growing in my garden right now.
Oh, I'm very jealous. I didn't find comfrey here yet. Yes, it's a magical plant. Absolutely.
Can you give us a sneak peek of some of the plants that might appear in upcoming volumes?
Well, we also found it very important that the plants are from different regions of the world. So that, you know, for example, we have the cinnamon tree in there, which for Caspia is, of course, very hard to find in Brooklyn, but she will find it. But we also have somebody like the nettle and the dandelion, because I wanted there to be plants whom the kids can really find. There are also a few plants mentioned that are not featured in the letters, but additionally given to Caspia as seeds, as something like a bean, which is always so easy to grow. And then I very much love the jasmine, with all its myth, the queen of the night, as they call her also, and all the myths surrounding her. But I have to say, it was the hardest thing at all to really decide on the plant list, because it was constantly, oh, we could do this one. Oh, and what about this one? I have another secret favorite, and that is elder, because an elderflower, elderberry, and all the myth about the elder, that you cannot break the branch without the fairies getting really angry, and you shouldn't sleep under it, or you have to dance with the fairies all night. all these things. It's the wonderful things when you write about plants, that there's so many stories that people told about them, that it's just endless. You grab back into the past and bring it all back.
Mm-hmm. And Caspia is finding ways to tell stories about plants today.
Yes.
So I believe that's all the time we have for today, Cornelia. Thank you so much for talking with us about your book today. If you
Sarah,
care about plants at all, you'll love it.
thank you for the magical questions, and I hope we can entice some people to fall in love with plants.
Lovely. Back over to you, Kristen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cornelia and Sarah, for the wonderful deep dive and insightful look into the Green Kingdom, and for your very thoughtful answers, Cornelia. Now I'll share with you some other of DK's most exciting forthcoming children's and adult titles for the summer of 2025. Before I dive in, I want to mention that if a book or series is available in ebook format, this will be mentioned on the slide. Now, let's begin with our children's titles. Animal lovers of all ages, get ready for the biggest dog in the book. From tiny Chihuahua Agnes, who loves to burrow beneath cushions, to Holly the collie, who loves chasing her tail, this book contains many adorable dogs. Each is special in their own way, but which of them is the biggest dog? With a gatefold that opens out to show just how big the biggest dog is, this fun tale by award-winning author Ben Lurwill depicts how each individual is lovable in their own way, but will keep kids guessing until the end. Next, I'd like to highlight the new titles coming to the A Kid's Book About series, which explores conversations on the important yet often more difficult parts of life. A Kid's Book About is now fully under the DK umbrella, as we've taken on all of their publishing. So all these incredible books should now be widely available under your preferred wholesaler. Topics in the series are handled mindfully, and the books are meant for children as young as 5. Highlighted here are just a few of the books included in this summer's releases, so there's plenty to look forward to. From bestselling author Jamie Smart comes a new graphic novel series about following your curiosity and making new friends. The first 2 books in the series are Max and Chaffy, Welcome to Animal Island, and The Great Cupcake Mystery. Starring in these hilarious stories is Max Boggle, who loves finding things, and he loves putting them back where they belong. So when a mysterious creature named Chaffy is spotted, Max can't wait to find out more. Kids will love joining Max and Chaffy on their adventure and solving the clues to discover what's been lost and all that can be found. Packed full of fascinating facts, engaging characters, and hilarious narratives in the form of comic strips, DK's new graphic novel series, The Fact Finders, will keep children entertained and learning for hours. In the Fact Finders universe, readers will dive into the world of asteroids, shooting stars, black holes, and the real-life astronauts who explore our solar system. Why do we have seasons and moon phases? Is there weather on the planets? This fun graphic novel will have readers exploring the speed of light with Albert Einstein and wandering through the constellations across our galaxy. In the Fact Finders Ocean, young readers will learn about the world's oceans, underwater habitats, and essential ecosystems, and the fascinating lives of countless creatures that live there, from the land-walking shark to the slime-covered parrotfish. A new addition to DK's publishing is Against the Odds, a decodable chapter book series for older readers ages 10 to 14. This action-packed historical fiction series follows the survival arcs of young characters as they face dangerous and riveting historical events. This high-interest, lower reading level series focuses on morphology, and provides older readers with a vital and engaging reading bridge between decodable texts and mainstream books. This summer, we'll be publishing Crashed, a harrowing story about real-life airplane crashes, and Pompeii, a riveting dive into the historical eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Against the Odds will keep readers at the edge of their seats while also developing essential decoding skills. By now, you're probably aware of Phonic Books, our range of decodable books for beginner and older catch-up readers. Science of Reading is taking the country by storm, and we're continuing to publish new series with great new illustrations and text to support structured literacy instruction. With multiple series, Phonic Books builds on learned letter sound knowledge and paves a structured scaffold that can be effectively integrated into any phonics instruction program. This summer, we're publishing 2 new series for catch-up readers. The Resolvers, which is a 12-book set and activity book starting at CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant, and CVCC level. And Dark Waters, a 10-book set and activity book that covers suffixes, prefixes, and root words or morphology. We know these formats are not always the best for you, so we will be publishing 3 new hardcover editions of our popular series for older readers. For these bind-ups, individual books in the series are packaged as one hardcover book to make your cataloging and tracking of them easy. Perfect for the library's decodable selection, the following catch-up series will be in this format come August, in addition to the 3 catch-up series that are already available: Amber Guardians, Rescue, and The Talisman One. Our beloved DK Super Readers continues into 2025. This nonfiction leveled reader series is designed for kids ages 3 to 11 and is divided into 5 levels from pre-level to level 4. All aligned to Lexile measures. We'll also be expanding our nonfiction super readers to include titles about the beloved musician Dolly Parton, football, life in the Stone Age, a trip to the dentist, and more. DK's best-selling I Wonder series is back and refreshed for the next generation of young readers ages 5 to 9. These picture-led reference guides will take readers on a breathtaking visual tour of our planet. Stay-at-home explorers will feel inspired by the dramatic photographs, up-to-date information, and fact-packed pages. This summer, we'll be publishing I Wonder Oceans, Rocks and Minerals, and Human Body. The refresh of this beloved series is not to be missed. Plus, as you may know, we've also updated our classic Eyewitness series in recent years for kids ages 9 to 12 with a new look and more facts, while still maintaining the well-loved approach of visually stunning and immersive knowledge built around a single topic. Our new Eyewitness titles coming this spring include DK Eyewitness Vietnam War, Plant, very fitting for our speaker who joined us earlier today, and Presidents. Next, we have a gorgeous new title, an anthology of shells, a transportable field guide covering the beautiful shells from around the world. Readers will learn all about shell shapes, colors, and textures, and get up close with the snails, turtles, crabs, and clams that live in them. This book is the perfect companion for kids who love spotting natural treasures hidden in our everyday world. Now, I'd like to introduce you to a few of DK's latest reference titles for kids coming out this summer. Food Around the World introduces young readers to countries around the world through a fascinating exploration of food. Food is part of everyday life, but where does it come from? By following the journey from farm to table and exploring a variety of dishes, This book will help children in their learning about the significance of food in different cultures. What if you didn't make snot? What would happen if you never slept? Or if your bones turned to jelly? This book is an irresistible dip into the wacky, bizarre, and gross questions that kids love to ask. Through 33 amusing questions that will reinvent the ways we think about anatomy, readers will learn all about the human body, from blood vessels to the brain and nerves to nutrients. The Hidden Heroes of Science explores the stories of unnamed heroes that contributed to some of our world's most important scientific discoveries and inventions. From the person who created coding to the Hollywood star who helped invent a radio system to send secret messages, The Hidden Heroes of Science unveils the fascinating tales of science's most miraculous moments. About Time will help readers learn about the history of time, how clocks work, and how to tell the time on a variety of devices. Co-written by an award-winning practicing watchmaker and a physics teacher, About Time shows how time is central to our experience as humans and explores not just how to tell time, but also how to make the most of it. You might recognize terrarium expert Ben Newell from his book that came out last year, Hello Tiny World, that one on our adult list, or his gorgeous viral videos of tiny terrarium on social media. Magical Miniature Worlds features 18 different terrarium projects for kids ages 7 to 9. From building a fairy garden in a spice jar to an alien world in a fish tank, this book will teach readers the science behind terrariums, including friendly soil creatures, the water cycle, and helping them thrive. The Extraordinary History of Witches transports readers through time and across the globe to uncover the bewitching tales of historical witch trials, magical folklore, and potions, spells, and relics. With immersive storytelling from author Hazel Atkinson and enchanting illustrations from the wickedly talented Camellia Pham, this book covers everything from the origin of the word witch to the modern-day beliefs of Wiccans and much more. Celtic Myths is a stunning treasure of exciting stories, compelling gods and heroines, and fantastical magical creatures. Perfect for children ages 7 to 9, Celtic Myths contains more than 20 enthralling retellings, exciting profiles of all the major characters of Celtic legends, and key knowledge on Celtic lands and history. This year's collaborative summer library program's summer reading theme is Color Our World, and DK has several books that are sure to enthrall kids to put the pencil to page for hours. Our latest Marvel and Disney How to Draw books guide kids through the process of drawing all their favorite characters, from Spider-Man and Black Panther to Winnie the Pooh and the Incredibles. Plus, you might recognize Draw with Art for Kids Hub from their hugely popular YouTube channel that teaches kids how to draw with a unique, easy-to-follow approach that puts fun first. Draw with Art for Kids Hub space is filled with drawing ideas, from classic NASA-inspired rockets and space shuttles to intergalactic adventurers and out-of-this-world aliens, and encourages kids to have fun as a family and fall in love with drawing. Step into the fairy tale world of Disney's amazing princesses. This updated edition of the popular Disney Princess Enchanted Character Guide now includes Moana and Raya. Young Disney fans and older ones alike will love turning the pages of this enchanting guide to follow the lives and stories of their favorite princesses, from Tiana and Merida to Belle and Ariel. This next book is sure to turn every young reader into a Pokemon expert. With more than 1,500 facts, stats, and trivia about the Pokemon world, Pokemon Big Book of Facts highlights the fascinating facts that make each Pokemon unique, from smart to sleepy, strong and speedy, legendary, mythical, and more. Next up is Lego. The special editions of these 3 books are hardcover bound for the library, don't come with bricks, and are chock full of the same exciting games, puzzles, and challenges that their counterpart editions will have. Kids and their families will love leveling up their Lego skills with their favorite fandom, whether they're into Minecraft, Spider-Man, or Lego Ninjago. Plus, DK's Spanish language publishing list continues to grow, both on the children's and adult sides. Highlighted here are just a few of this summer's forthcoming and latest edition of our DK books in Spanish. Now, let's dive into our adult highlights. In case you missed it, first, I want to give a shout out to DK's New York Times bestselling books of 2024. Old Time Hockey's Recipes from the Cedar Swamp by Old Time Hockey himself, of course. You Deserve Good Gelato by Casey Rose, and Life on Svalbard by Cecilia Blumdahl. You might recognize authors Casey Rose and Cecilia Blumdahl from our previous webinar interview events with Booklist. We're so excited to continue celebrating all of these books. And I know you're excited for this one. Baking Across America is the highly anticipated second cookbook by New York Times bestselling author of Baking Yesteryear, B. Dylan Hollis. In this cookbook, join the beloved baker and social media star as he takes a cross-country culinary journey through 100 wild and wacky recipes from every corner of the USA. You'll be hitting the pavement in vintage style as you journey with Dylan through every state in America to savor the very best bakes the nation has to offer. Dylan's retro recipes span the decades from the 1900s to the 2000s, from date cream in Palm Springs to the iconic beignets of jazzy New Orleans. With Dylan's charming humor and historical explorations into each dessert, this tour de food is as sweet as it gets. Cooking authentic Mexican-American comfort food is simple and delicious, with champion pitmaster and YouTube sensation Arnie, or Arnie Tex, Segovia. With creations that reflect a traditional blend of Southwest Texas and Norteño cooking techniques, Arnie Tex guides readers through dishes from Mexican Spanish rice and tacos al pastor to Texas staples like smoked brisket and Texas chili. This cookbook also features stunning photography that captures the beauty of South Texas and tips for cooking both on the stove and over an open fire. For more than a decade, Beth Lemonarque's YouTube channel, Entertaining with Beth, has been the go-to for anyone looking for creative and practical entertaining advice. Beth's first book, Entertaining 101, is the culmination of years of hosting experience, and she has the answers to all of your questions. What's an easy dinner I can serve to impress my visiting in-laws? It's frenzy-free chicken pot pie. Or, what's the easiest drink to serve at my Mother's Day brunch? A Bloody Mary bar. With 101 recipes and tips, Entertaining 101 is the ultimate manual for both beginners and seasoned hosts. Next up, pasta expert and content creator Danny Friedman is known for his fun and vibrant approach to cooking. His first book, Danny Loves Pasta, made homemade pasta accessible to everyone. In his second book, Italianish, he's expanding his recipes to cover the entire spectrum of Italian-American cooking, with more than 100 unique and easy twists on the classics. If you like lasagna but don't have time to make one from scratch, try Danny's famous lasagna soup. For lovers of traditional cannoli, the no-bake chocolate cannoli cheesecake is sure to become a new favorite. Italianish is designed to be easy to follow, with a recipe index organized by the time the dishes take to prepare. From quick bites to special occasion meals, Danny has a fun recipe for every night of the week. Illustrator's YouTube channel and website love her positive, encouraging approach to teaching complex recipes. In her first book, The Modern Pioneer Cookbook, Mary shared tips for cooking traditional foods and making healthy meals more economical. Now, in The Modern Pioneer Pantry, Mary dives deeper into the world of healthy meals. With more than 115 recipes, she teaches readers how to create a well-stocked, nutrient-rich pantry. Topics include canning, pickling, fermenting, freezing, dehydrating, and drying to preserve everything from fruits and vegetables to salads, jams and jellies, pickles, and much more. If you're craving your favorite fast food, but still want a healthy meal, look no further than Exquisite Eats. Passionate home cook and content creator Kareem Saad is here to prove that eating healthy doesn't have to be boring. Exquisite Eats offers 85+ healthier, homemade versions of your favorite restaurant's meals, including healthy versions of the classic In-N-Out Double Double, Starbucks Kale and Mushroom Egg Bites, Panda Express Teriyaki Chicken, and more. Packed with meal plans and nutritional information, Exquisite Eats uses easy methods to incorporate high-protein, balanced meals into a busy, everyday routine. TikTok star Shreya Walia's Make It Meatless series has garnered over 70 million views. In her cookbook, Make It Meatless, she shows viewers how to recreate their favorite meaty meals with more than 100 comforting plant-based recipes. Instead of using processed meat substitutes, Shreya integrates smart techniques and unique ingredients like lion's mane, banana blossom, and oyster mushrooms. Turn mushrooms into Nashville hot chicken tenders, tofu into buffalo burgers, hearts of palm into fish tacos, and more. Make it, and you won't miss the meat. Our last cookbook of today is Menolicious, a menopause survival cookbook by Marilia Fostrop, a menopause awareness campaigner, Bells Berry, chef and daughter of Mary Berry. Discover more than 100 easy and nutritious recipes designed to help balance hormones, boost energy levels, improve weight management, ease symptoms, and help you embrace the freedom of a new stage of life. With delicious anti-inflammatory breakfasts like kale pancakes with tahini butter, to metabolism-boosting dinners like coconut chicken and black bean stew, these 30-minute meals are not only tasty, but packed full of essential nutrients. From simple machines to modern-day marvels, Science Year by Year follows the history of science through a jaw-dropping collection of more than 1,500 photographs, illustrations, maps, graphics, and timelines. From Stonehenge to the Higgs boson particle, this stunning volume showcases the ideas, experiments, and technologies that have shaped our world today. How Science Works is a visual guide packed with diagrams and infographics to answer all your burning scientific head scratchers, from gravity and string theory to earthquakes and gene therapy. In this book, readers will discover the most fascinating phenomena across the universe. If you have ever wondered why the sky is blue, how a black hole works, or what happens in a tsunami, this indispensable guide is for you and your collection. Now, they say you eat with your eyes, but science has revealed that smell, texture, temperature, color, and even background music influence how we perceive flavor. In The Science of Flavor, food science expert Dr. Stuart Farrimond explores major flavor categories such as salt, acid, and heat. With profiles of major foods like fruit, vegetables, herbs, and spices, this book is the ultimate guide to bringing the flavor into food into full Technicolor life. Created in collaboration with the Smithsonian, Exploration Map by Map uses specially commissioned maps, photos, illustrations, and original artifacts to cover the epic history of human exploration and migration, from the movement of early Homo sapiens out of Africa 1.8 million years ago to the race for space. In this lavish book, the voyages of history's greatest explorers are brought to vivid life, while also exploring the experiences of established indigenous groups and the impact of settler populations. The Moon Book is a gorgeous account of our lunar neighbor in all its guises, a guiding light in the night sky, the driver of oceanic tides, the subject of scientific study, and an enduring influence in literature and art. From theories on the moon's origins around 4.5 billion years ago to a guide to observing the Moon Book's rich text, specially commissioned illustrations, and detailed photographs celebrate one of humanity's most enduring objects of fascination. Switching gears, but also something round, perfect for the beginner golfer, Golf Stroke by Stroke is a comprehensive guide that covers everything readers need before heading off to the golf course with confidence. In this comprehensive technical guide, golf pro Brian Cowell introduces each stage of the game and teaches readers how to swing a club, choose the best gear, keep score, practice golf etiquette, and much more. Slugs, Friend or Foe is the ultimate guide to everything about slugs, the different species, their fascinating life cycles, and the important role they play in the garden ecosystem. If slugs and snails seem to be wreaking havoc in home gardens, readers will soon learn how to work with them, and perhaps even befriend them through practical and eco-friendly measures. Combining bold colors and playful eye-catching patterns, the Granny Square Cookbook contains 150 designs across a wide range of themes for all ages, including textured effects like baubles to 3D motif designs like rainbows and more. Whether you're creating a playful baby blanket or a statement cardigan, the Granny Square book is the ultimate guide to crocheting your next project, one square at a time. Buildings That Changed History gives readers a grand tour of the history of architecture, from the Grand Pyramid of Giza to the Sydney Opera House. With CGI cutaway artwork that peels away walls to unveil the bones of the building, and close-up photographs that reveal intricate details, Buildings That Changed History is a fascinating look into the patrons, builders, and architects who made these world-famous masterpieces possible. Grammar for Grown-Ups makes learning and reviewing the finer points of the English language easy, with clear, no-nonsense explanations and examples. Writing is a daily part of adult life, but many people are uncertain about basic rules and conventions. Do I need a comma before this clause? What exactly is a prepositional phrase? This practical guide covers everything you need to know for clear and professional communication, including grammar rules, tips for writing with style, fine-tuning punctuation, and more. The history of astrology, divination, and prophecy traces this history from its roots in the 3rd century BCE, when ancient Mesopotamians studied celestial bodies to predict the future, to modern methods of tarot, palmistry, crystals, and more. Comprehensive, accessible, and beautifully illustrated, this book is the ultimate guide to learning about the fascinating history, fears, and secrets of this spellbinding history. Brain, an Owner's Guide, is a practical guide to all aspects of brain health, from maximizing your mental well-being today to protecting your brain against future health issues. Neuroscientist Elizabeth Ricker translates medical jargon into science of the everyday, with simple illustrations, checklists, facts, and myth busters that cover memory, resilience, concentration, depression, brain fog, dementia, and more. Everything you need to help you better understand your mind. How to Make Your Brain Your Best Friend is a delightful, evidence-based guide to taking better care of your brain, so it, in turn, will take better care of you. Neuroscientist Rachel Barr knows that the brain doesn't always get it right. She struggled through years of devastating loss and uncertainty until neuroscience gave her the first spark of self-belief. Proof that because of the brain's near infinite potential for neuroplastic change, it's never too late to carve out new ways of thinking. This book will not only help readers understand what's going on in their head, but also provide refuge in a book that feels like a warm hug for the mind. Switching gears to pop culture, go beyond the music with the Taylor book, a comprehensive exploration of Taylor Swift that gives her stratospheric career the depth it deserves. From her early days as a teen country artist to her record-obliterating Eras tour, Taylor Swift is a supernova of pop culture. Packed with in-depth text, infographics, original illustrations, and photos, this book explores everything from Taylor lore to her exceptional lyricism to the life of the woman behind the Grammys. This is the ultimate Taylor almanac for all Swifties, ages 9 to 99. Superman has been a jewel in DC's crown ever since 1938, fueling a plethora of movies and TV shows. In Superman, the Ultimate Guide, fans will love diving into spectacular art from the original comic books, in-depth profiles of Superman's allies and enemies, a detailed timeline, and much more. The Book of Dragons unveils the rich lore and legendary characters Dungeons and Dragons. With commissioned artwork and penned from the perspective of the mighty dragon gods themselves, this book is a must-have for every adventurer's collection. Now, let's chat about travel as we wrap up. We have new additions to our Like a Local series, including Lisbon, Florence, Barcelona, and Los Angeles. These beautiful travel guides are packed with each city's local businesses, community strongholds, and secret spots, all recommended by true locals, offering travel experience to suit every mood and need. The Italian Way is the love letter to everything we love about Italy. The morning espressos and afternoon spritzes, dreamy landscapes, Renaissance masterpieces, and the philosophies and traditions that make la dolce vita. Whether it's food, culture, or art, the Italian Way celebrates the people and history of this beautiful country. With North Coast 500, explore the best of Scotland, from fairy tale castles to white sand beaches to rugged mountains. With more than 100 highlights to see on the road, detailed maps, and practical tips and durations, this is the ultimate glove box companion for hitting the North Coast Road. DK has exciting new additions to the popular Eyewitness Top 10 Travel Series, with up-to-date themed lists of 10 that cover the best of each city. These pocket-friendly guides will help you make the most of your travels. New additions include Tokyo, Copenhagen, Montenegro, Washington, D.C., and more. And hit the open road with 50 once-in-a-lifetime drives from road trips northern and central Italy. From the lakes of Lombardy to the coastline of Cinque Terre, this book details 25 easy-to-follow driving tours, key stops, detailed maps, delightful detours, and much more for the ultimate Italian road trip. Plus, new additions to our Eyewitness travel guides include Boston, Albania, Costa Rica, and more. With practical tips and maps, this series ensures you won't miss a thing on your adventure around the world. Now, to end, here's just a quick reminder to follow DK on social media to stay up to date with our latest books, sweepstakes, and offerings. And for any school librarians, be sure to check out our EDU-focused social channels and website, DK Learning. which is packed with free downloadables, lesson plans, and much more. Thank you so much for joining us today and for all that you do for your patrons and communities. We hope you enjoyed hearing from Cornelia Funke and about our titles coming this summer. Have a wonderful day. Back over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Kristen. What a great list. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, slide presentation, title list, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now Blue Sky. And just a note that we are no longer on X, so please find us on these other channels for the latest Booklist news and updates. We are thrilled to announce that the digital version of Booklist Reader, the monthly reader's advisory magazine from the editors of Booklist, is now an ALA member benefit. Head over to our new site to start reading, and if you're not already a Booklist subscriber, you can use your ALA membership ID to sign in. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and a huge thank you to our special author guest, Cornelia Funke, and to our sponsor, DK. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.